Welcome to Unit 12. This unit explores the different stages and paces of life, what suits different people, and how people use their work and leisure time. Listen to people talking about their attitude to their daily routine and how they feel about the pace and rhythm of their lives.
When I get into bed at night. That sounds silly maybe, but yeah, I get quite tired, I guess. As I said, my life can be quite hectic, so I really enjoy just getting into bed. If I've got a decent book, I attempt to read it. I usually get about 2 pages in before I drop off and then read the same 2 pages the following night.
I like the early evening because for me the pressure's off and I can go and do what I want, and normally I've done everything that I need to do for the day.
I think in my everyday it's when I go on my bicycle to work or from work, because I get fresh air and get to move my body, I think. Yeah.
I think the morning. I like waking up with the sun and getting up early, and I get a lot done in the morning. Yeah.
I think it's changed quite a lot. It used to be the mornings. Maybe it was because I enjoyed the work I did a lot more, so I was really excited and wanted to wake up before everyone else and kind of get a head start for the day. But now I've kind of grown maybe into bad habits and really still enjoy the mornings, but enjoy them flying in a bit more. And I really look forward to cooking in the evening, and really don't like just before I go to bed because I want to stay up later, but no, I should go to bed.
I like the evening time. I feel like that's when most of the people are out, and that's typically when I'm done with work and I can see my family or go out with friends. So I'm not much of a morning person. That's kind of a slow start, so I like the evening time.
My favorite time of day really depends on the season though, but especially in the fall, I really like the evening, just when the light changes, especially when it turns like dusk time. Yeah, so.
I quite like, although I don't enjoy getting up early, I do, once you're out of bed and awake, I quite like being awake in the very early mornings. I try and get to work quite early because it's quite quiet on public transport, and it's just a calm, kind of peaceful time of day. It's hard in the winter because it gets very dark, but if you're around when the sun's just coming up, it's kind of like a quiet, magical time, especially in London, because it's so rare that you get to see it when it's quiet. So that's the time of day where you do get to enjoy that.
I think I generally move at a faster pace, and I think that the people around me get quite frustrated with that. My husband used to say that he only held my hand so I didn't walk so fast, which is not very romantic, is it? But there you go. No, I don't have a great deal of patience. I suppose that's one of the problems with me. I just like to get on with things. I can't sort of stand by, well, something needs to be done and not do it. And no, both my children and my husband, in fact, and my parents all think that's a bit of a problem.
I think my day-to-day life is quite fast-paced, but in terms of my sort of general life plan, it's quite slow. And I would say the people around me are usually the opposite.
I think it's quite fast, maybe sometimes too fast. I thought about it the other day, and I think I can remember the last time I was bored. So I think it's too fast. Yeah.
My work life is very fast paced, and my weekend and home time is exact opposite. People in my family don't move to a fast pace that I do at work.
Back in the States, it seems very fast-paced. I work a job, and then after that I have a bit of relaxing time, but it was very busy when I was going to school because it's quite common to work and go to university, so it was very, very fast-paced. So now, while traveling, it's a little less busy and more just fun and sightseeing and stuff, so that's nice right now.
I think it varies. It depends. I realize that I do live normally when I'm not on holiday as now, but usually I do live a pretty fast-paced life. And I realize that for some people, when I tell them what I have to do that day, they're like, "Oh my goodness, how are you going to be able to do everything? How are you not going to be exhausted at the end of the day?" So, yeah.
Oh, it's way too fast. I feel like I'm always on the go in London. So I would like it to be slower, but perhaps that's just the way it is when you live in a city. I think everyone's always in a rush to get into places, and you're always under pressure at work to hit deadlines and get work done. So I think that's just a consequence of life in the city.
So I think at the moment I have quite a fast pace of life because I just have quite a lot that I need to do at different times and quite a lot of work that I need to do. But I like taking time out when it is slower and when I can just do things that I enjoy and read and walks and stuff. So I think a balance of the two I like, yeah. I think I've grown up in a house of fast-moving people. So both my parents worked full-time and my dad works in the church, and that's a very busy job. So I think probably the way I live my life now is mirrored on the way that they live theirs, yeah.
Imagine that you had no idea when you were born. Based on how old you feel inside, how old would you say you are?
27.
Why?
I don't know. I know that I think about that quite often. So that's how I feel.
I feel, I think as old as I am, so I'm approaching 30, and that's how old I feel.
I would like to think that I'm probably about 62. And that's pushing it a bit.
Oh, I mean, I feel 84, but I don't think anyone would believe me if I told them no. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't be able to answer that. I don't know.
I mean, I actually am 21, maybe more like 25, I don't know.
Probably about 30. Just because I remember lots of very good times from then, and that's where I feel I am. I forget I've got grey hair, and when I look in the mirror I'm a bit shocked, really.
Oh, that depends on the day, I guess. It changes over time, but I'll probably say around early 20s.
Of course, we can't deny the age we are, our chronological age. But the idea of only being as old as you feel may be more than just wishful thinking. Some scientists are very interested in this concept of subjective age and how it affects our health and well-being. Unsurprisingly, researchers have found that the difference between our chronological age and our subjective age changes over our lifetimes. Up to the age of 25, we tend to feel older than we are. Then this switches. By the age of 30, nearly 3/4 of us feel younger than we are. Scientists believe that cultural attitudes and stereotypes around aging may influence this perception of age. But our concept of aging is also changing as life expectancy changes. In 1955, the average life expectancy at birth was under 50 years. Now it's over 70 years. Experts think that by 2050, there will be more than 2.1 billion people over 60 and 425 million people over 80 years old. Japan has the highest life expectancy in the world. The Japanese island of Okinawa has more centenarians, people who are 100 years old or more, than anywhere else in the world. What is more, they seem to age more slowly than other people. According to scientists, people who are actually 70 often have the bodies of 50-year-olds. And what's the Okinawan secret to living such long, healthy lives? Experts believe it's the combination of eating a healthy diet that includes plenty of fish, vegetables and seaweed, staying active, and spending lots of time with friends and family. On Okinawa, people say you are a child until you are 55. And when you reach 97, there's a special celebration called Kajimaya to celebrate the fact that now it is time to be young again. On Okinawa, old age is prized, not feared. We all have a different personal experience of age and aging. In our teenage years, we can't wait to be older, to be able to leave school, to learn to drive. But by middle age, we might look back fondly on our youth, at the days before we settled down, before we had a job or a mortgage. What feels like the best age to be is very different for everyone. Is there an age you would be happy to remain at forever?
27. It's my ideal age.
Why is 27?
I don't know. I just think that I was between a grown-up and a youth, and I had a great time at that point of life. I still feel good, but that was even better. Life wasn't as serious then.
Around about the 30s. It was an exciting time for me and my husband. It was before we got married, and we did a lot of travelling around the world, and we had a good time. So for me, that's an age I quite like.
It's got to be your childhood, hasn't it? I think it really has. I mean, any time I talk about just the time I had when I was a kid at school with all my friends, still going playing out before like smartphones, before internet and things like that, it's just always going to be the best time of your life, I think, isn't it?
I would probably say around the early 30s. Haven't reached it yet, but I feel like it's an upward trajectory from there, and you feel a bit more like you're still young enough to change what you want from life, and you are at a place where you know enough to figure out what you actually want.
Yes, well, I'd like to be a bit more energetic, so I might stay at 40. That's a sort of respectable age for climbing mountains and things.
I think I'd pick the age when you've just got young grandchildren. I mean, I see my grandparents, they are just so happy with, new grandchildren coming along. I think at that age as well, you've perhaps achieved as much as you want to in your career, and even a career isn't the be-all and end-all in any event.
While our experience of aging is unique, there is also an enormous amount of research that's being done into the effect of age on our abilities. While none of the results are definitive, there are some interesting findings, especially when it comes to establishing when we peak at all sorts of different things. Scientists have found that our ability to learn languages peaks at the age of 6 or 7. But our vocabulary, even in our own language, doesn't peak until our late 60s. And when it comes to maths, our arithmetic skills peak at 50. Our memory generally peaks around the age of 28. But some studies have shown that our memory for names peaks at around age 22, while our memory for faces doesn't peak until 32. And our understanding of other people's emotions doesn't peak until our 40s and 50s. One of the most interesting findings is about life satisfaction. Studies have shown that life satisfaction seems to come and go. It first peaks in our early 20s, and then again in our late 60s. And at what age are most people likely to make big life decisions? Well, any age that ends in a 9, of course.